Just for once, let me look on you with my own eyes.
Imagine a galaxy filled with over 100 quadrillion inhabitants, and you, out of all of them, are the chosen one. A destiny written for you by the will of the Force itself. A destiny where you must bring balance to the Force and destroy the Sith. Just for this destiny to be stripped away from you and to be replaced with a life of pure torment as a slave to the very people you were chosen to destroy. This is the tragedy of Darth Vader, formerly known as Anakin Skywalker. The Sith for centuries abused the Force for their own malignant needs, manipulating it for their own gain, where they hid in the shadows. Darth Plagueis the Wise and his apprentice Palpatine performed forbidden abilities that meddled with the Force, tilting the galaxy into a darker state where the light side became weaker. This was their grand experiment, re-engineering the Force itself and rewriting the cosmic balance. The Sith's ultimate sin, however, would not go unpunished. The Force had in itself decided to retaliate. It had a cosmic response to the manipulation of the Sith, siring a singular life within a woman's womb and creating life without a father, which was beyond reality, and created what we now know as the Chosen One. Born on Tatooine, Anakin grew up alongside his mother Shmi in slavery. He served his master Watto in poor conditions on the Sand Planet. It was all he ever knew. In his spare time, he would construct machines and even a droid called C-3PO. However, fate's hands would intervene, and it would be Anakin's final days on Tatooine. A ship from Naboo landed on Tatooine with a broken engine that needed repairing. There, Qui-Gon Jinn, a Jedi Master from the Jedi Order, would enter the town to find repairs alongside Padme Amadala. He would find the young Skywalker, a slave boy to the Master Watto. Anakin was confused to see a Jedi for the first time, and when he saw Padme, he was immediately interested. Qui-Gon freed Anakin, and upon analysing his midichlorians, a scientific measure to studying one's potential within the Force, he was stunned to see it registering as the highest recorded, even more than Grandmaster Yoda. The decision had to be made. Anakin could choose to leave the sands of Tatooine to join the Jedi on Coruscant, but leave his mother behind, or forever be trapped as a slave from the planet and never gain an opportunity like this ever again. One final hug with his mother, Anakin joined with Qui-Gon, meeting his apprentice Obi-Wan Kenobi on board the ship. Taking Anakin on board to the Jedi would be their undoing. On Coruscant, the Jedi Council of members such as Mace, Windu and Yoda did not fully trust the Chosen One prophecy that Qui-Gon so believed in. He believed in what the Force willed, but much of the Council did not. With this ideology, Qui-Gon would be the perfect mentor to the young Skywalker. But fate would not go down this road, as Qui-Gon is killed on Naboo by Darth Maul. Kenobi would be the one to mentor the boy. Kenobi, however, was not ready. He did not realise the full potential of Anakin, and was not fully in tune with the true way of the Force. Neither were any of the Jedi within the Order. By the time Anakin had grown up under Obi-Wan's mentorship, he had developed a relationship with Senator Padme Amadala. Love was prohibited of the Jedi Order, to prevent emotions getting in the way, causing conflict. Force visions would emerge in the mind of Anakin, grasping him with fear. It was dreams of his mother's suffering, but these felt real. He returns to Tatooine to find his mother Shmi and save her, but it was all but too late. She was killed by Tusken Raiders, dying in his arms as he was too late. In a blind rage, he slaughtered the entire village, all of them dying to his lightsaber. Afterwards, he would vow that he would never lose anyone again, and would become powerful enough to prevent people from dying.
Why'd she have to die? Why couldn't I save her? I know I could have. I will be the most powerful Jedi ever. I promise you. I will even learn to stop people from dying.
Anakin.
It's all Obi-Wan's fault. He's jealous. He's holding me back. I killed them. I killed them all. They're dead. Every single one of them. And not just the men, but the women. And the children, too. They're like animals, and I slaughtered them like animals.
The Republic would gain itself a new army of clones that could combat the Separatists led by Count Dooku. Anakin and Obi-Wan would duel him, though separately due to Anakin's impatience. When the Sith Lord and Jedi Knight would collide, Dooku severed Anakin's arm from his body, wounding the young Jedi. Anakin would deep down seek some form of vengeance for what Dooku had done, but the time would come much later. During the Clone Wars that were ongoing, the father within the Mortis gods would lure Anakin to Mortis to test whether the young Jedi was truly the Chosen One. Anakin becomes more powerful than both the daughter and the son, each a representation of the dark and light side, respectively, both falling to their knees in the presence of the Chosen One. It was at Mortis, however, where Anakin would have a glimpse into his dark potential. The Clone Wars raged on. Anakin would be given a Padawan to serve under his wing, Ahsoka Tano. Although at first Anakin was hesitant to have a Padawan under his vision, she proved to be a great friend who he truly cared for. This would take a turn for the worse, however, as Ahsoka was framed for an attack on the Jedi that was actually committed by Maris Offee. Anakin would uncover this truth, preventing Ahsoka from receiving punishment such as the death penalty, but the Jedi would still banish her from the Order after political pressure from the Senate. Anakin would therefore hold more distrust towards the Jedi. Anakin's slow disillusion with the Order did not stop here, as Chancellor Palpatine slowly got closer into the ear of the young Skywalker. He realised that he was a chosen one who could be groomed into a tool for the Sith. The Chancellor played on Anakin's disillusion with the Jedi, and how they perceived him as reckless. Anakin felt trapped in this order, like a slave once again, where he is not allowed to feel emotions, where he is not supposed to love someone, where even the Jedi do not follow the way of the Force, instead opting to align with the politics of the Senate. It was not just the Order that Anakin felt subservient to, it would be his own power too. Visions clouded Anakin's mind, vivid dreams of what felt real, or what could be real, dreams of Padme dying. It was these thoughts that puzzled on his mind all day, at all times. They should not feel real, but they could be. He had to prevent this. The visions of his mother became true, so in his mind, the same was likely for Padme, and this could not happen. With this fear, found a new exploit within the boy. He already managed to play off Anakin's desire for revenge against Dooku by convincing him to end the former Jedi's life. Anakin obliged, and stepped closer to the darkness. With Anakin's heroic acts though on the Battle of Coruscant, Palpatine suggested Anakin should be a part of the Jedi Council, to which he agrees to bring it up to the Masters of the Order. The Jedi did not agree. Not fully.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of Master.
What? How can you do this? This is outrageous. It's unfair. How can you be on the council and not be a master?
Take a seat, young Skywalker.
Forgive me, Master.
Mace allowed Anakin to sit at the council, but he would not be considered a Jedi Master. Anakin felt disrespected, looked down upon, like his superiors did not respect him, and one of them held down and chained from his true potential. Palpatine's final planting of the seeds to Anakin's eventual turn was a story. The story of Darth Plagueis the Wise, the Sith who could cheat death. He could save the ones he loved, but never himself. Anakin needed to know about this power, to which Palpatine strictly tells him that you cannot learn this from a Jedi.
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise? He was a dark lord of the Sith, so powerful and so wise, he could use the Force to influence the midi-chlorians to create life. He could even keep the ones he cared about from dying.
He could actually save people from death.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
With this new knowledge of Palpatine being a Sith Lord of the Shadows, he informs Mace, who is quick to have Anakin left behind while he deals with the situation himself. Anakin ponders what he should do. Trapped in thought, he thinks about Padme and how Palpatine's survival is detrimental to Padme's. He could either allow Mace Windu to kill the Chancellor, or he could go there now and prevent his death. The decision tore him apart, but those visions he had could not become reality. Mace had won the duel with Palpatine, backing him against the wall. Anakin arrived at the final moments. He pleaded with Mace to spare his life, imploring that he needs him. Mace did not listen, and Anakin was forced to slice the Jedi Master's hand off. Palpatine had won. He obliterates Mace Windu with lightning, casting him out the window. Anakin's grief sets in, as he knows he chose evil. He knows he has chosen the dark side, but this was all for love. Anakin, now crowned as Darth Vader, stormed the Jedi Temple with his 501st Legion of clone troopers, purging the Jedi from within its walls. Everyone was slaughtered, even the younglings. No one was spared. He had already sold his soul, there was no turning back, but finally, in his mind, he was no longer in shackles, although for just how long would this be for? After he executed the remaining Separatist leaders upon Mustafar, Anakin sees Padme lying on the deck. She pleads with him, and is shocked and devastated at what he has done. He argues he has established a new order, and eventually they can overthrow the Chancellor to rule the galaxy the way they want.
Love won't save you, Padme. Only my new powers can do that.
At what cost? You're a good person, don't do this.
I won't lose you the way I lost my mother. I am becoming more powerful than any Jedi has ever dreamed of, and I'm doing it for you. We don't have to run away anymore. I have brought peace to the Republic. I am more powerful than the Chancellor. I can overthrow him. And together, you and I can rule the galaxy. Make things the way we want them to be.
In the corner of his eye, however, he spots his master, Kenobi. Anakin's rage sees this as Padme bringing him here to kill him. He chokes her in anger. The former brothers turn against each other. There was no mending this bridge, and thus the duel begun. Anakin's impatience would get the better of him as Obi-Wan would slice him in half. He burned in the lava, screaming in rage and hate. But in the end, he lived, cradling onto the hate he felt. He was transported to Coruscant to undergo his transformation into something darker. He was equipped and clad in armour. Armour that should have helped him live with his injuries, but it only hurt him more. The machine he became was a prison that severed his full potential from his grasp, a prison that represented his entire life as a slave. The young Jedi's life was forever tormented. The suit he wore agonized him, and every joy he felt, his lungs would collapse on him, requiring him to bear his suit once again. There was only hate, darkness, and regret, and the woman he did this for died, killed by him in his mind, everything he did, just to be a slave once again. He would hunt down any surviving Jedi across the galaxy. Obi-Wan still lived, and would encounter Vader aboard the Death Star. This was the opportunity for Vader to show Obi-Wan what he became, the pain he felt, how he was eternally trapped, the monster that Obi-Wan helped create. When Kenobi allowed for Vader to strike, he did not hesitate to cut down his former master, but the sudden vanish of his old mentor confused him. It was only confusion, but then it became loneliness. His final link to his past as a Jedi was now severed. He was the last person to see the good in Anakin, and now he was dead. With the destruction of the Death Star by a Force-sensitive pilot, Vader had an obsession to track him down. Every turn he made led him closer to uncovering the truth. The truth that his son was still alive. Palpatine lied to him, stating that Padme and the child had died because of his actions, yet a boy who bore the name Skywalker still lived. Emperor Palpatine informed Vader that there was someone belonging to the offspring of Anakin Skywalker, to which Vader acted as if he did not know the truth. Deep down, however, was the opportunity for Vader to escape his eternal servitude to the Emperor. He had to find his son before the Emperor did.
You do not yet realize your importance. You have only begun to discover your power. Join me, and I will complete your training. With our combined strength, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order to the galaxy.
I'll never join you!
If you only knew the power of the dark side. Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father.
He told me enough! He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father.
Upon Cloud City, where he had his duel with his son, Vader would sever Luke's hand off, having him cornered and wounded. There, he spoke the truth to Luke, where he said the simple line, "I am your father." The monster who stood across from Luke was his father. The boy could not believe it. Vader offered Luke to join him and awaken his full potential under his mental ship, where they could overthrow the Emperor and rule the galaxy as father and son. He could not defeat the Emperor alone, with how his force potential was long since diminished and how his suit was designed to be inadequate against force lightning. But with Luke at his side, there was hope to break this bondage. Luke was his final hope. But the final hope would crumble. Luke refused, jumping down the city shafts. Vader felt crushed. By the time they encountered each other again on Endor, Vader fully aligned himself as a servant to his master again, stating how it was too late for me, my son. His decrepit mindset ruling his every action once again, he captured Luke, who had surrendered, and transported him to the second Death Star. The Emperor awaited their arrival. It was clear that Vader was now the disposable tool, with Luke now being more suitable to continue the Sith's rule of two. Still, he protected the Emperor, and fought Luke again in his beaten down mindset. In their duel, Luke embraced the dark side for moments, but when the opportunity to strike his father down arrived, he chose to spare him. Throughout, he saw the good in Vader, vowing to not kill his father.
Sister. So, you have a twin sister. If you will not turn to the dark side, then perhaps she will.
Palpatine was infuriated, blasting the young Skywalker with lightning. Luke beckoned for help. Vader just stood there and watched. But in the darkness of the throne room, the despair of Vader became secondary to the rising light within him, the love of the father, Anakin Skywalker. The Jedi, who could not save his mother or his wife, but his son, he had the opportunity to save. As his son said, there was still good in him, and this time, it was not destiny that would kill his son, but his inaction on his behalf. He lifted the Emperor above his head, carrying Palpatine to the edge of the bridge, dropping the Dark Lord down the tower, breaking the chains of his master, and finally setting himself free, all for his family. The lightning ruined him. The suit he bore was created to make him weaker to the dark side ability. His lungs collapsed. The battle station was on the verge of destruction, with Luke attempting to save his father. But Anakin knew it was over. He requested one final action, to see his son with his own eyes. At last, the prophecy of the Chosen One was fulfilled, and Anakin had finally freed himself from the chains that bind him his entire life. These final seconds of freedom meant everything to him, and with his last breath, he passed into a calmer place where he could finally now rest.
I'll not leave you here. I've got to save you.
You already have. Luke. You were right. You were right about me. Tell your sister. You were right.